Welcome to Signal Post Daily, your human-curated, AI-delivered tech and AI news briefing for Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025.
All right, we've got some pretty big announcements today. Let's dive in.
So we're leading with OpenAI. They just dropped their new web browser called Atlas, and it's basically their shot at Google Chrome. It's available on macOS now, with Windows, iOS, and Android coming later.
Wait, hold on. A full browser? Like, they're really going after Google's core business here.
Exactly, and the market noticed. Alphabet stock dropped about 2% immediately after the announcement. The browser has ChatGPT built directly into it with this persistent sidebar, so you can ask questions about any web page you're on without tab switching.
That actually sounds convenient. But, what's the catch? You mentioned this in the setup. What about security concerns?
Yeah, so that's the thing. OpenAI has an agent mode that lets ChatGPT actually perform tasks for you, like filling out forms, researching, even shopping. But here's where it gets dicey. The company ran thousands of hours of security testing, yet they're openly saying in their own documentation that our safeguards will not stop every attack that emerges as AI agents grow in popularity.
I mean, that's honest, but also terrifying. So you're literally giving ChatGPT the ability to click around your logged-in accounts?
Right, and they know it's risky. There's a prompt that warns users, despite all the power and awesome capabilities you get with sharing your browser with ChatGPT, that also imposes an entirely new set of risks. But they do have some safeguards. You can run the agent in logged-out mode or toggle which websites ChatGPT can see on a site-by-site basis.
Okay, so there's layered control. I'll give them that. But I'm guessing websites are already setting up traps to exploit this, like prompt injection attacks on the web?
100%. Sites could craft malicious prompts embedded in their pages to trick ChatGPT into doing things it shouldn't. OpenAI knows this is coming. They've been pretty transparent about it, which, respects users' agency, but also feels like handing out rope.
And the stock market's reaction? 2% sounds small, but Google's got what? 3 billion Chrome users?
Yeah, the concern is real. Some analysts think Google will likely respond within a year because these features are easily replicable. But the barrier to entry for a new browser is incredibly high. Chrome's been dominant for so long that even starting from Chromium like Atlas does, you're climbing a mountain.
Fair point. All right, let's shift gears. Samsung just launched their mixed reality headset?
They did, and it's called Galaxy XR. It's $1,800 cheaper than Apple's latest Vision Pro, priced at $3,500. It runs Google's new Android XR operating system and can run basically all standard Android apps out of the box.
Okay, but here's what I want to know because I'm an Apple user. If I buy one, do I have to re-buy everything? Are my apps stuck in some Android prison?
So that's a good question. The Galaxy XR runs Android XR natively, meaning it doesn't have access to your iOS or iPadOS ecosystem directly. Like you can't just sideload your iPhone apps onto it. But, and this is important, the headset has massive Android app support. Netflix, YouTube, Adobe's Project Pulsar, even sporting apps are reworked for the XR interface.
But I'd have to learn a new ecosystem, and my existing purchases don't carry over?
Exactly. Your Apple purchases stay in Apple's garden. That said, Samsung's positioning this as open architecture, whereas Vision Pro is more locked down. And the Galaxy XR doesn't require an Android phone to run. It's a standalone device with its own processor, a Snapdragon chip, 16 gigs of RAM, and 256 gigs of storage.
Do I need an Android phone? So it works by itself?
Correct. It's completely independent, though obviously integration with an Android phone would be seamless if you had one. The real differentiator here is the lighter weight, 1.2 pounds versus the Vision Pro at 27 ounces. And it has a separate battery pack, so you can charge while wearing it.
Hold up. Heavier by a few ounces doesn't sound like much, but have you ever worn a headset? That's a big deal for neck comfort.
Huge deal. Samsung really emphasized human-centric design here. And the Gemini AI is baked in at the system level, so it understands what you're looking at through the pass-through cameras. You can literally circle something with your hand and search for information about it.
That's honestly pretty cool. But I'm still stuck on the Apple ecosystem thing. There's no workaround?
Not really without fundamentally changing how app distribution works. It's Android XR. The good news for Apple users is you're not locked in. You can use streaming services and web-based apps. But yeah, you're starting fresh in terms of your digital library.
Okay, switching topics completely. Our podcast creator has one and loves it. But apparently, Apple's reportedly pulling back on iPhone Air production?
Yeah, so this is brutal. Apple is drastically cutting iPhone Air production. We're talking to nearly end of production levels. Production orders starting in November will be less than 10% of what they were in September.
Wow, that's dramatic. But it's a new product, right? How do you already know it's failing?
Well, the demand is just not there. The Air has been available for shipment on Apple's website since launch with no delays, whereas the iPhone 17 and 17 Pro have 2 to 3 week shipping delays. That tells you everything.
That's a pretty clear signal. So what went wrong? It seemed like a cool product, the ultra-thin thing.
It's fascinating because the market apparently doesn't want ultra-thin at this price point. You're paying a premium price, but you're getting a smaller battery and fewer camera features than the regular 17 or Pro. It's stuck in no man's land pricing-wise.
But didn't Samsung have the same problem with their Galaxy S25 Edge?
Exactly. Samsung sold only 1.31 million units of the Galaxy S25 Edge, compared to 8.28 million for the standard S25. They literally canceled the S26 Edge because the ultra-thin trend just isn't catching on. Consumers care way more about battery life and affordability than maximum thinness.
Okay, so Apple's basically doing a trial run for the foldable iPhone coming in 2026?
That's one theory floating around. The Air could be testing ultra-slim technology and manufacturing for that foldable form factor, but it's still a major miss for this year. Apple's overall iPhone 17 forecast remains unchanged, at 85 to 90 million units though, because demand for the regular models is strong.
All right, last story before we wrap. Google announced something with Quantum?
Yeah, this is huge. Google Quantum AI announced a breakthrough with their Willow chip, using an algorithm called Quantum Echoes. They're claiming it performed a calculation in under 2 hours that would take the world's fastest supercomputer about 3 years.
Okay, so 13,000 times faster. That's a big number. But break this down for me. Are we talking real-world useful here, or is this still theoretical?
That's the key distinction, right? Previous quantum advantage claims were mostly proof of concept, but Quantum Echoes is different because it's verifiable. You can run it on another quantum computer and get the same result. That's never been done before in a commercially meaningful way.
Okay, so what does that mean practically? Like, what can we actually do with this?
The immediate applications are molecular simulation. They tested it with the University of California, Berkeley on actual molecules. One with 15 atoms, another with 28. The results matched what they got from traditional NMR spectroscopy, which is how scientists currently study molecular structure.
So they validated it against known methods. That's actually impressive. What's the timeline on this being useful?
Google's saying practical, real-world applications could come within 5 years. Think drug discovery, battery design, understanding material properties at the molecular level. Stuff that currently takes weeks or months of classical computation might be doable in hours or days with quantum machines.
Wait, but they said it would require a quantum computer 10,000 times larger than what currently exists?
Yeah, so that's the catch. This proof of concept works on Willow's 65 qubits. To do the really useful stuff at scale, you'd need millions of qubits. But the error correction problem they solved last year, where errors go down as you add more qubits instead of up, that's the path forward.
I'm not paranoid, right? This doesn't break Bitcoin or anything?
I mean, theoretically, quantum computers are a threat to cryptography someday, but experts say we're at least 10 years away from that reality. And honestly, Google's focused on solving real scientific problems, not breaking encryption.
Fair enough. This is actually exciting, like genuinely interesting quantum progress versus hype.
Totally. And Michel Devoret, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics this year, is involved in the research. So it's legit science, not just marketing.
Well, that'll do it for today. Pretty wild stuff across the board.
Yeah, we've got a browser war heating up again, mixed reality getting more accessible, Apple's ultra-thin dreams not panning out, and actual quantum computing progress. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. Thanks for walking through all this.
Thanks for asking the right questions. Catch you tomorrow on Signal Post Daily.
Bye-bye.